Now in this video, I'm going to be going over my biggest secret when it comes to scaling e-commerce brands to 7, 8, 9 figures that I hear no one talking about. And what that secret is it's CRO, right? Which stands for conversion rate optimization. And we use this to basically make everything else a lot more effective, right? And it allows us to scale exponentially, to be honest. So what I'm going to go through in this video is basically our entire SOP when it comes to doing conversion rate optimization, right? How we do it. And you can basically just copy and paste what we do and improve your conversion rate. So before we get into anything when it comes to conversion rate optimization, right? I'm going to give you basically the bullet points, right, of what we do. And I'm going to go into each, in depth and explain how to do it, why we do it, etc. So in terms of basically the process, this is what it looks like, right? So first we do the research, right? We come up with a hypothesis and then we test based on the hypothesis. And then based off the test, we obviously get, we learn stuff, we get data, which we learn from, we keep note of that, and then we just repeat this cycle, right? So of course, the first thing we're gonna start with is the research, right? So this is a key element that I feel like a lot of people miss when it comes to CRO. Now, I learned there's a lot of content on TikTok, right? It's just short form content, and it's very surface level. So a lot of people just go ahead and then, do tests just based off, how they feel, right? But we have to actually do research. And when it comes to research, you want to take a look at their Google Analytics, right? And when it comes to this, you also want to check, where the data you're getting from. You want to check if it's actually correct, right? If it's, given the proper data. If it's incorrect, then obviously it's going to mess the whole research phase up. So you want to check if the data you're actually seeing is actually correct, right? So then we look at things like heat maps, surveys. So as you can see, heuristic analysis as well, right? And basically throughout this, right, what we're looking for is where is the biggest drop off. And doing this, right, what we're looking for with this research is where's the biggest drop off in the user journey, right? So as I said, how we find this out is with Google Analytics. So this will be the exact step-by-step of what we do, right? So with Google Analytics, we look at what page are people dropping off at, right? Usually, let's say it's a product page, right? So this is where people drop off. Next, we'll look at heat maps, scroll maps, click maps, whatever you want to call it, right? And we see why people might be dropping off, where they're clicking, right, etc. So we'll go into a product page and we look at heat maps, right? We look at click maps, scroll maps, right, etc. So that's what we use the heat maps for. Now, another thing we can do is we can actually run surveys, right? If we have any questions, we can actually run surveys on live customers. So people that are actually on our store, looking around, blah, 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 right? We'll give surveys to them. If they buy, we can give them surveys like that as well. And we can actually get answers that we want straight from the customer. I also forgot to mention there is screen recordings as well that we look at. So we watch through customer screens and see how they behave on the product page, right? Or whichever page we're looking into. And as I said, the last thing is heuristic analysis, which you're basically just looking at points, where there might be friction, points of friction, right? This is just me summing up quickly. And now based off all of this, that's where we come to our hypothesis, right? So before you think about running tests, what we do is you want to write a hypothesis for each test you're about to run, right? And what this will look like is, so based off this research, right? If we have a hypothesis that customers are lacking trust and that's why they're not buying, we'll basically come up with a hypothesis that's like, for example, if we have a payment icon or payment icons below the add to cart button, then sales will increase as customers have more trust now, right? And now, if this test does become a winner, right? If this is a winning test, what that tells us is that our customers, right, value trust, right? So they value trust. So what we can do is, if that is a winner test, we can do more things in line that, increase the customer trust and see if that, sticks, right? If it continues to, maybe we add the return policy more clearly, right? So, they trust you more because they can just return it if anything goes wrong, blah, blah. So we'll test things in line with that if this does become a winner, which is why it's important to come up with a hypothesis, as you basically try to understand why the customers aren't buying, not just if this test will work or not. Because if you understand why they're not buying and you run a test which confirms that, you now have a lot more tests you can do in line with that, right? In line with that customer behavior, which will lead to a lot more accurate tests, right? Now, the reason I say this is because majority of CRO agencies or people that do CRO, they usually have a winning test, 1 out of 7. But because we do all of this beforehand, right? And even afterhand, which I'll show you, right? We actually have a winning test 1 out of every 3, usually, with this strategy. So keep that in mind. And this part here, about learning from your hypothesis, blah, blah, is basically the 4th point, and we're going to get onto that. But of course, before we can even get to that part, right? Before we get a winner, is that we actually need to test, right? So for testing, we will either use convert.com or VWO, right? They do the exact same thing, just see which one you prefer. And we use these to basically run tests, so we'll code tests. And when it comes to actually, reading the data to see which test won, we will use this website right here. So you can either screenshot this if you have an iPhone, copy that, or you can obviously type it up, right? But this is where we will enter the results. And if we get a statistical significant result, then that one's a winner. If it's not statistically significant, then you might as well just run another test. But that's a whole nother video. I actually have a video on that, which I'm gonna put right up here. Now, after obviously test, get your data, get your results. Now, you wanna see what you can learn from this in order to make your next test, right? So after this, obviously you're gonna continue to run tests to improve your conversion rate. What you wanna do is, you wanna ask yourself, right? What can we learn from this? What does this say about our customer behavior? And what other experiments now can we think of now that we know this, right? Which is why it's so important. Don't just run tests blindly, right? You got this data now, right? You had the hypothesis and you got a winner now. So you understand that, this is your customer behavior. Now you can run more tests that have a higher chance of succeeding as you've actually based it off data. Because as I said, if your customer behavior shows that they lack trust, right? Your next couple tests, right, could be about improving the trust on your website, which then, because your tests are based off data, it gives them a higher chance of success, which overall gives you a higher chance of increasing your conversion rate. And what you do after this is basically just repeat. So you'd go back to step one, right? See where maybe, let's say you run a couple tests on a product page, and your product page is good. Now you might want to see where, what other pages people are dropping off at. So you can go onto there and repeat, come up with a hypothesis, test, draw learnings, and then repeat, right? But it's really that simple. The only thing is obviously you have to do it over and over again, get good at it, be able to do it at a good degree, right? Now I'm gonna get into the reason why this is so powerful and why, as I said, it's helped us scale brands exponentially, right, to 7, 8, 9 figures. So I'm gonna give you an example right here. So let's say you have 100 visitors, right? From Instagram, Facebook, Meta, TikTok, Google, YouTube, whatever, right? And let's say you have a 1 to 2% conversion rate, which is usually the average for e-commerce brands. What that means is you're gonna get 1 to 2 conversions purchases for these 100 visitors, or if you had 1,000, right, we get about 10 to 20, right? So it goes up like that. That's what conversion rate means. Now, on the other hand, if you do this and you improve your conversion rate, what happens is, as you can see here, the same 100 visitors from the same platforms, right, come to your Shopify store. But let's say you were able to increase your conversion rate to about 3 to 4%. All of a sudden, with the same 100 visitors from the same platforms to this, not the same store, as you've probably improved your website to get to that high conversion rate. Now you have 3 to 4 conversions or purchases, right? So you've doubled it basically by just doing CRO. Now this is very possible numbers. You can get from an average of 1 to 2% to about 3 to 4%. We've even gone as high as 5, 6. For some brands, if you do it correctly, if you have landing pages, everything's set up properly, you can even see as high as 10%, right? So it's very possible to make a ton more money, right, with the exact same traffic. So if you're paying for ads and stuff, with the same amount of money you're spending now, right, you're going to be able to get more people buying, increasing your profit margins and reducing your CPA. So it's basically all around great. So the gist of it is improve your conversion rate and doing CRO very well, right, and getting your conversion rate to above average. So again, it's about 3 to 4%, makes everything else a lot more effective, including your ads, including your social media posts, everything. But the issue is it's not speaked about enough, which is why I said this is our biggest secret when it actually comes to, scaling e-commerce brands, right? Past the point where they usually can't, right? Is because, let's say they plateaued visitor-wise, ads-wise, your ads do plateau at a point. If you just focus on CRO, you can scale past that plateau quite easily. But guys, that's it for this video. It's not a topic you're going to get straight off the bat, so if you have to watch the video, right, or if you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Now, if you want something that actually goes into how to do CRO, I actually have a free school community which you can join, which goes over stuff like that. So if you want to join for completely free, it'll be in the description below. But that's it for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.